And Yutka 19. Can you please talk more about the FDA decision to wait on the shots for under 5 years old? We are very concerned. Please, please, please. I think we covered that, right?
Yeah, it'll be a couple more. They postponed it for at least a couple more weeks. The politics of it blew back on them. They also their testing results are a joke. And the question is how long. What's interesting is my whistleblower case for Brooke Jackson is that it's having more ramifications than even I was optimistic that it would have. In two places, politically, it's having ramifications because I think it played into the FDA is going to be under the radar, under the microscope for what they did, and the evidence must be even worse than what we even fully know about. Because I think that's part of the reason they walked back, that they were going to authorize it, then suddenly they walked it back and said maybe in a couple of weeks, maybe in a month. It's unclear. And the other thing is, as came out by a former BlackRock executive on Alex Jones' show, he says that the suit has had a substantial effect on Wall Street, that a range of investors look at the case and think that it poses serious problems for the future of these vaccines in particular, but also that's why Moderna has taken the biggest hit, but that they have doubts about what it will do to the vaccine market in general, whether there'll be blowback legislatively, blowback politically, in such a way that big pharma will be put under a real microscope. What if these stories start accumulating and getting out to where they reach? I mean, you have embalmers and funeral home owners reporting very unusual blood clot patterns that are only consistent with one source of injury. You have the oddity of Bob Saget's death, which has still not been really explained.
So here's
the family went into seal and hush it all up for some reason. A little odd.
I'll just say one thing with Bob Saget's death. I was doing something this morning because I'm an absolute idiot, and I was trying to take a very heavy object off a top shelf on a swivel chair. And the second the object got off the edge of the ledge, I was like, this is too heavy for me to carry. The swivel chair starts spinning. I said, I'm going to die because something's going to fall on my head. If that had happened to me, people the rumors would have spread, but everyone knows my status and how long ago it was. But yeah, I envisioned it for a second.
I know they would have thought somebody whacked you, Viva.
Well, that's the other thing. So all that to say, people, look, I'm not even going to entertain those jokes. So yeah, it was Saget's and Cernovich. I want to address one thing. Cernovich, and I like him, and there's no but to this. He put out a tweet that said, "It's none of our business how Bob Saget passed away." And Cernovich is a gentleman, despite what people think, and I agree with him. The only caveat is that when people take to social media to publicize certain highly politicized political issues, and then things happen, then you've sort of incidentally or indirectly publicized other aspects of your life based on other aspects which you've deliberately publicized. So right. Saget, makes some jokes. The stand-up comic who is literally talking about how she went out and got a whole bunch of shots she went out and got shingles just to boot. And then she says, Jesus loves me more. And as she says that, she literally faints, falls, and cracks her skull. She publicized one aspect of her life. Therefore, it indirectly, incidentally, and unfortunately publicizes another aspect. And that's the case with Bob Saget, just because of the nature of the jokes and the proximity. But I respect.
Andy, I get the idea of sealing the records, but if he's a public figure, he is. And if his death may be the product of someone else's criminality, that makes it almost more of a public issue than a private issue, or at least to the degree that the full autopsy, which to my understanding was not done by a private agency, should be it's a matter of public record. It gets closer to public disclosure rights than it is in sunshine laws and open records acts than it is purely private. If this had been a purely private autopsy, different dynamic. But once a state actor is involved, and then you have a public figure whose death may be the product of someone else's criminality, raises additional questions. But clearly the suit is having broader ramifications. Now, some people are still misled out there, because there's some people out there saying that you can sue Pfizer if it's willful fraud. Not unless the Justice Department agrees with you. That's the problem. The problem with the law is you cannot sue them at all unless the Justice Department says you can sue them. So I can sue them for defrauding, because that's a whole different issue. But suing them for causing injury, you can't right now. unless the Justice Department says yes. So all these people out there saying, oh, willful fraud, they'll be bankrupt. Well, only if the Justice Department joins you. Now, politically, people can see the tea leaves. And I mean, I've received inquiries from Wall Street people who want to go into detail about the suit because clearly it got a lot of people's attention up there. And especially if the thought process is this technology doesn't work. mRNA technology, if that's what Wall Street concludes, Moderna is going to be worth, pennies on the dollar, even compared to where it's at. It's already taken a massive hit. It'll take 4 or 5 more massive hits. And before this, there were a lot of people that thought mRNA was a pipe dream for vaccines in particular, but drugs in general. So if all of everybody's warnings turn out true, because the injuries start to accumulate and there's a public belief that they're caused by the vaccine, then yeah, it's going to have its effect. But it's a sign of how litigation can impact things. Even when the lawsuit itself, you have to really climb an uphill battle without the U.S. government's involvement. It can have a very broad impact elsewhere if people see the underlying evidence, which is substantial and extensive. Then I think it makes people second guess. There are some people who told me, not to take the case. There were some big lawyers that fled the case. Because they just want, their focus was different. I'll put it that way. But there's ways to fight these cases. I don't mind underdog cases. Number one, that's all I have. But number two, there's ways you can use these cases to get a good public policy outcome that your client is seeking, even if there's hurdles in the legal system that don't allow justice to be easily done.
Just want to before I bring this chat up, I can't bring that up. I don't know what I was reading a chat, and I don't know. I don't understand it.
Someone was suggesting we should see what Alec Baldwin's whereabouts were related to Bob.
We'll get there. They haven't finished that investigation yet, but everybody really has to read the real Anthony Fauci, because the parallels between the one thing that struck me, Robert, above and beyond the reprisals against those who would speak ill of, controlling the media, eliminating the control group. That is something that I found shockingly analogous between the two, is the desire to eliminate the control group. If everyone is, then all is. And unless there's a control group, you have nothing to compare it to. And that's what we're living through right now with, not to get more scientific than that.
Robert, it's the number one argument that vaccine skeptics have made, which is we want to see a comparison of the healthy of all using agreed to health metrics. Let's do broad observational studies of the vaccinated compared to the unvaccinated in a wide range of vaccine context. And the CDC has been unwilling to do that. And the smaller scale versions of those observational studies that have taken place, let's just say they're not favorable to a lot of vaccines that have been promoted as wonderful for you. So it's Bobby Kennedy's number one argument. It's like, if I'm wrong, if being unvaccinated puts you at greater risk of bad health outcomes, then let's do a big study to figure it out. And why is the U.S. government scared to do such a study? Why is Big Pharma scared to do such a study?